Today we're going to be going over Lesson 7, Standard Form Application. Standard form is not y equals mx plus b, that's slope-intercept form. Standard form is actually this ax plus by equals c. And we use that on problems where we have two similar items. For example, if you're purchasing two items at a store, we would be using standard form so that they each have their unit rates. So the first example is Sam ordered 2 tacos and 3 enchiladas for lunch at the restaurant. His bill came to $7.80. If enchiladas were $2 each, write and solve a linear equation, find the cost of each taco. So the first thing is this last sentence. Before we can plug in the 2, we need to have our equation first. So if you're just searching for numbers, plugging them in and hoping for the best, we definitely don't want to grab this 2 until after we have our equation. That's what we're going to plug in to answer the question. So we're going to write our equation based off of this first sentence. Sam ordered 2 tacos and 3 enchiladas for lunch at a restaurant. His bill came to $7.80. Now you need to choose 2 variables to use. If you want to use T for tacos and E for enchilada, that's fine. But I'm going to use X and Y. I'm going to let X be tacos and Y be enchiladas. Now, this isn't the number of tacos and the numbers of enchiladas. What we don't know is the cost. So X is the cost of a taco and Y is the cost of an enchilada. Because we know Sam ordered 2 and we know he ordered 3 enchiladas. So 2 times the price of a taco plus 3 times the price of an enchilada is going to equal his total $7.80. From there, that's the equation. We don't have to convert it. Now we can answer the question if enchiladas were $2 each. So let's plug that 2 in. Enchiladas is going to go in for Y. And we rewrite 2x plus 3, plugging in 2 for the price of the enchilada is equal to $7.80. You're going to multiply in to get 6. Subtract that 6 over to get 2x is equal to 180 and divide by 2 and we get x, the price of a taco, is 90 cents. If you wanted to use T for tacos and E for enchiladas, that's fine, as long as you know that they represent the price of a taco and the price of an enchilada. The second example, the Madison High School Marching Band sold gift wrap to earn money for a band trip. Solid gift wrap sells for $4 per roll, and printed gift wrap sells for $6 per roll. The band needs to earn $2,340 for an upcoming competition. If the band sells 240 rolls of printed paper, write and solve a linear equation to find the number of solid paper they must sell. So again, this last sentence, if the band sells 240 rolls, we're not going to use that until after we have our equation. How do you know that this is a standard form problem instead of the y equals mx plus b? Because we have 2 similar items and they each have their own unit rate. So we have solid gift wrap and printed gift wrap with pictures on it. And the solid gift wrap is $4 per roll and the printed gift wrap sells for $6 per roll. So that's the clue that we're looking at standard form here. So again, you can use S for solid and P for printed, but I'm just going to use X and Y. So X, I'll let that be the solid gift wrap, and Y would be the printed gift wrap. But again, these aren't just things. We know the cost, so the unknown is the quantity that we're selling. And then we're going to write our equation, $4 for an unknown amount of solid gift wrap plus $6 per an unknown amount of printed gift wrap is equal to the total that the school needs to sell, $23.40. And that would be our equation. From there, now we can answer the question, if the band sells 240 rolls of printed paper, which one is that? That is Y. So we're going to make sure we plug it in for Y. You're going to multiply the 6 times the 240. Subtract that 1440 over from the 2340. Divide by 4. And we get X. The solid paper is 225 rolls. Common mistake is people will put a dollar amount on it, but our unknown is the quantity. Reread the question, make sure your label makes sense. Solve a linear equation, find the number of solid paper they must sell. We are going to sell that solid paper in rolls. All right, the next problem. Karen's piggy bank has all dimes and quarters. The total value of the money in her piggy bank is $11.40. If Karen has 36 quarters, write and solve a linear equation, find the number of dimes she has. That if Karen has 36 quarters, we aren't going to use that until after we have our equation. So it's not going to be a part of our equation. You can use X and Y. You can use D for dimes and Q for quarters. That's fine. I'll do that on this one. D is for dimes. Q is for quarters. If you'd rather use X and Y, that's fine. But we don't have our unit rate because we want to know how many dimes and how many quarters she has in her piggy bank. But we don't have our unit rate, and that's because on these coin problems, they're very standard. They show up a lot. When you see them, you're going to be like, oh, the typical coin problem. You know the unit rate of a dime. What is the unit rate of dime? What does a dime go for these days? Well, 10 cents per dime. Plus, what is the unit rate of a quarter? 25 cents per quarter. And in her piggy bank is a total of $11.40. That's our equation that represents her piggy bank. And now we can do the if Karen has 36 quarters. So we're going to plug in 36 in for Q for quarters. We're going to multiply in the 25 cents to get 0.10 per dime plus $9 and quarter is equal to $11.40. Subtract that 9 over to get 0.10. D is equal to 240 and divide by 0.10 to get the number of dimes to be 24 dimes. Reread the question to make sure that makes sense. Write and solve a linear equation to find the number of dimes she has, 24 dimes. Next one, tickets at a school play cost $4 in advance and $5 at the door. So we have two similar items, advance tickets and door tickets, and they both have their own unit rates. $4 for an advance ticket, $5 for a door ticket. Total ticket sales for that evening production was $440. Now, the if no tickets were sold in advance, we're going to use that after we have our equation. So it's not going to be in our equation, any of that information. So you can use X and Y. You can use A for advance tickets. We know the price. We don't know how many were sold. And you can use D for door tickets, or again, you can use X and Y. Again, we know the price of a door ticket's $5. We don't know how many were sold. So for A plus 5D, or you can use X and Y, is equal to their total sales of $4.40. Again, why are we not looking for the word per and trying to set up Y equals MX plus B? Because we have the two similar items with each of them having their own unit rate per item. So now we have our equation. Now we can answer the question, if no tickets were sold in advance, that would be A. No tickets, 0. We're going to plug in 0 for A. Normally, if you use X and Y, it's going to be based off of your handwriting. Sometimes like a D can start looking like a 0 and it can start looking like a 50. So maybe your safer bet then would be to use X and Y if you think you're going to misread your own handwriting, which no judgment. Sometimes I do that. 4 times 0 is 0. I'm not going to write that down. 5D is equal to 440. Divide by 5. And we get D is equal to 88 tickets. Josh bought 3 bags of potting soil and 10 bags of mulch from Home Depot. Write an equation to represent the total cost. If Josh spent $40.91 and mulch costs $2.75 per bag, how much was a bag of potting soil? So you can choose if you're going to use P for potting soil, S for potting soil, B for bags of mulch, M for mulch, or you can just use X and Y. It's completely up to you. I'm just going to use X and Y. And writing the equation for this, we would have 3 bags of potting soil, so 3X, plus 10 bags of mulch, 10Y, is equal to a total of 4091. That would be our equation that represents this scenario. And then it says if mulch costs $2.75, that's Y for me. We're going to plug in that $2.75 in for Y. Multiply in your 10 to get 3X plus 2750. Subtract that 2750 over from the 4091 to get 3X is equal to 1341. Divide by 3. And we get that a bag of potting soil is $4.47. Make sure you're answering the question, how much was it? $4.47. Kaylee has a collection of quarters and nickels. Write an equation that represents the total value. So I'm going to let Q be quarters. You can use X and Y. And N be nickels, and this is one of those typical coin problems where we know the unit rate for quarter is 0.25 Q, plus the unit rate for nickel is 0.05 N, and they're not going to tell us that, it's assumed known, and her total is 550. That's our equation. And then if Kaylee has 17 quarters, so we're going to plug in 17, and for Q, we're going to multiply that 0.25 times 17 to get 425. Subtract that from 550 to get 0.05 N is equal to 125. Divide by the 0.05. And we get that there are 25 nickels. The baseball concession stand sells soft pretzels for $4.50 and bags of popcorn for $3.25. If you want to use X and Y, that's fine. I mean, P for pretzel, P for popcorn. You can't do that. we would have 450x plus 325y is equal to at least $1,000. And then if we sold 137 soft pretzels, pretzels is X, we're going to plug that in for X. Multiply that 450 by the 137 to get 616.50. Subtract that over from the 1,000. And then divide by your 325 to get your final answer of 118 bags of popcorn.